interesting, and I'll ask you, this is an interesting one. If they can find their shooting boots, well, the two people with shooting boots of late, not against Arsenal, but of late, has been Isak and Wilson. Now, how does Eddie work them? They're our best hope of goals, regardless of how they're used or when they're used during a game. You know, if only one starts and one comes, they're our best chance of goals, those two. Now, bear in mind that for the first time, he did what lots of people thought he wouldn't do because he's never done it, which is play Isak wide left from the start, and Wilson. Didn't work in terms of goals. There's no question about that, but it did put our two most potent players on the field. Now, bear in mind that that left wing position is going to be up for grabs at Leeds because it's not going to be filled by Joe Linton because Joe Linton will have to play middle of the park. So somebody's got to play there, whether it's Isak, whether it's Maxi, whether it's Gordon, Murphy on the other side. It's going to be interesting, and I know we're second guessing. But to say, and I know you said that you wouldn't have started Isak and Wilson against Arsenal, but you would against Leeds. So presumably you would keep them both in the side on Saturday. Interesting what Eddie will do with them two.
I'm gonna go back on what I said actually, because
you often do that, Andrew. There, you see, there you go.
I'm flexible, John. I'm flexible. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah, you're not or you don't change your mind. You're just flexible.
I'll change my mind when it comes to dealing with the facts, and the facts were it just didn't work against Arsenal. And
a lot of things didn't work against Arsenal. But would they work against Leeds?
Do you know what? I think he might. I think he'll play Anthony Gordon. I would play St. Maximin, but I think he'll play Anthony Gordon on the left. I just think that's what he'll do. I don't think he'll play Isak and Wilson together. I think he'll use one of them off the bench. I think he'll probably play Isak up front and drop Wilson to the bench. That's my prediction for what he'll do.
Interesting. Because, as I say, trying to second guess Eddie is hopeless. I think a lot of people would want to bring Max in. I don't think he will, simply because I don't think he's had enough minutes on the field. I mean, to start, he'll bring him on. He will play in the game. There's no question about that. But I don't think he'll start because he hasn't had enough minutes. And he is a guy that's got to be fit. You know, it's got to be up and running at the right pace. So I don't think for one moment he'll start him. I think you're right that if he was only going to play one of those two, it would be Isak to start and bring Wilson on. If he was going to only play one at centre forward, it would be interesting then about how he plays the outside left. If we accept that Murphy will be outside right. Or does he bring Almiron into the equation because Murphy can play either side? I can understand why it would be Gordon as well, but I'm a little bit concerned about that because he's not up and running yet for me. He's not the player that we thought we were buying. I think he can become that player, as I've said before on these podcasts, but I don't think he's that at the moment.
Well, Saturday is a perfect opportunity for him to start, isn't it? He can start his journey to that end goal of being the player that we thought.